What's going on, guys? So the new iPad Air 4 is out, and yet iPad Pro remains unchanged in Apple's lineup. Well, why is that? Why it all makes perfect sense? There are a lot of questions considering that topic, but by the end of this video you will know all the answers. So, let's go! So the iPad Pro is supposed to be Apple's best tablet, and yet we have iPad Air 4 that offers tons of these new features like edge-to-edge screen, USB-C, and most importantly the new A14 processor that makes people wonder and raises questions whether iPad Air is actually beating the iPad Pro. Well, that is not the case, and let me explain you why. So, if you actually analyze Apple's strategy over the past years, decades, you will realize that in the long term, everything they are doing makes a lot of sense. Every product they are planning actually has a purpose in lineup. So, actually, the new Air being better than Pro that is supposed to be the best doesn't sound right, does it? Well, and it is not. If you actually take a look at iPad Pro's processor A12Z, you will realize that this is still the most powerful chip that outperforms easily A13 as well as A14, at least when it comes to graphics and multi-core. And it will outperform A15 and probably go toe-to-toe with A16. It is still the most powerful processor. But there are many questions why Apple didn't launch the iPad Pro with A14X. Well, actually I don't know that. Maybe they are planning something, maybe they are not, maybe there is gonna be some launch, maybe not. I don't know. But what I know is the fact that A12Z is still the most powerful mobile processor that there is. Despite it not being different from A12X, except one graphic core, and despite it being 2-year-old processor almost, it's still the most powerful processor that still enables and makes sure that iPad Pro still holds its Pro status. Hey, but what about other features, you may ask? Because as we all know, processor is not the only thing that matters. And A14 is still so powerful that the A12Z, whether it's more powerful or not, it will not matter in day-to-day use for most of us and for me as well. Yeah, that is all true, but if you actually examine and take a look at any other features that iPads offer, you will see the pattern that is showing that iPad Pro is still the best in any other category. Just take a look at that. iPad Pro is still the only device that offers you Face ID as well as HDR content while watching videos, and it's the only iPad that has ProMotion, which means it runs at 120 Hz and then it can adjust its refresh rate based on what you are doing currently. So if you are watching a movie that was originally recorded in 24 frames per second, it will adjust its refresh rate to 20 Hz to give you the best possible experience as well as save the battery life. And then if you are, for example, playing game that supports 120 Hz and you are scrolling through OS, it can finally raise up the refresh rate to 120, so it can give you the best experience, something which no other iPad can do in current lineup. Same goes for speakers. iPad mini and the base 10.2-inch iPad, they have decent speakers. The Air will have probably better setup, but it will still be nothing compared to quad speakers that you have on a Pro model, on the current 2020 Pro model. Allow me not to even mention the camera setup. I mean, it's not even close. No contest. Pro destroys any other iPad there is with its dual camera setup and LiDAR scanner. Quality studio microphones as well as RAM. Base iPad and iPad mini have 3 GB of RAM, iPad Air has 4, and the Pro again, still the best in its category, still the power continues, has 6 GB of RAM to give you the best, the most Pro experience you can possibly get. Well, what about base storage? The base iPad offers 32 GB, iPad mini and Air 64 GB in base configurations, and here again Pro is the best here, 128 GB in base variant. That's something. So the examples I gave you here were not meant to diminish any other iPads. It actually were supposed to show you that iPad Pro is still the most important, the most powerful iPad, the most pro iPad there is. That it's still in lineup for a reason. Even though Air came close to that when it comes to certain features, it certainly did not replace the full capabilities that Pro still has to offer. And there are a lot of them, as you could see on the video. If you actually consider a few things, like the fact that the upgrade of iPad Pro was already made in March this year, it actually were only few months. So you may say the upgrade was not significant. Well, compared to 2018 Pro model, it was not the biggest upgrade, but it was the upgrade that Apple planned to make, so it would still be better than iPad Air, and yet they would have something to present the next year. So new microphones, more base storage, more RAM, slightly more powerful processor, better cooling in the processor, so better overall long-term performance, and other new features like better cameras and LiDAR. These are the features that are supposed to make iPad Pro a Pro model even in 2020, when the lineup is very powerful, when all iPads are great. But Pro, thanks to this small and, as it may seem, not huge upgrades, it's still the best iPad. The iPad for those who want a Pro features and who want to differentiate their iPad from any other iPad, who want to have the best of the best. Pro still offers that and cannot be beat by Air or any other iPad, because that is purpose. That is why it is still in Apple's lineup. It's still the best iPad there is. So Apple already planned it all, and this is a master plan. Pro is just as good as it is supposed to be. So these were my thoughts about iPad Pro still being in Apple's lineup, unchanged the way it is and the way it has been from March. But what are your thoughts? Share them down in the comments, I'll be very curious to read them. Press the like button if you actually like the video, subscribe, smash that subscribe button for more content like that, and more importantly, be sure to be well. Until next time, and peace.